Last week, we celebrated the saints of old. We lit candles to remember them. And we also celebrated the new saints, as our confirmation students are. They affirmed their faith and were commissioned to do the work of Jesus Christ in the world, in word and deed. And some of you were not here, most of you were here. Maybe you don't remember, but we all reaffirmed our commitment to Christ to do his work in the world. Well, today we have the words and faith of another saint, Saint Job. We don't usually call him Saint Job, but he certainly is, if he exists, he certainly was a great example of faith. In fact, we often say the faith of Job because he exhibited such great faith. I saw this as I was looking for pictures about Job. I saw this next one. My Job is to trust God. Or is it my job is to trust God? I think that's an interesting play on words. Well, as the story goes, for those of you who don't know the story of Job, or those who have forgotten or just want to hear it because it's such a great story, this is what God tells Satan in the beginning of Job about Job. Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. Then Satan answers the Lord, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a fence around him and his house and all he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land." Satan is saying, Job is a good guy, a good man, because of all the things you've done for him, God. Satan continues, "But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face." The Lord said to Satan, "Very well, all he has is in your power. Only do not stretch out your hand against him." In other words, God tells Satan, you can do whatever you want to Job, you just can't kill him. And so Satan does. Now, we don't know if Job is an actual historical person or a parable, but it doesn't really matter. It is a very meaningful message to us. Satan hits Job with everything he's got. Job was a rich man. Satan takes his cattle, his goats, his sheep, his wealth. Satan kills his children and eventually kills his wife. It's the original story of when bad things happen to good people. Oh, I forgot to mention, Satan gives him sores all over his body. He's not having a good day. Yet Job does not curse God. Job never gives up his faith in God. It gets worse, too, for Job because his so-called friends turn against him. You see, Old Testament theology, the way people looked at and thought about God in the Old Testament, was kind of a cause and effect relationship. You do bad things, you get punished. You sin, God punishes you. Bad things happen to you because you're being punished. So if you see someone and they appear to be having bad luck, they believe it's because they've done bad things and God is punishing them. So Job's friends naturally tell him, Job, you need to repent. You need to confess. Because you must have done something to deserve this. Job kept saying, I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong. But they didn't believe him. We believe him because we know the beginning of the story, how he was upright and good. Job did nothing wrong, but he is suffering. Through it all, even though he lost his wealth, his family, his spouse, he does not get any comfort from his friends. They do not believe him. But he does not give up his faith. He believes that God will redeem him. How often have you heard people say they don't believe in God anymore because something bad happened to them in their life? Or they prayed that a loved one would be cured of an illness or have their problems removed, and since God didn't, they don't believe anymore. I think it's a little comical that we have people who are really mad at God, the God that they don't believe in. I don't know how you can be mad at a God that you don't believe in. Contrast that with 3 teenagers, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I love saying those names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They got into trouble. They got in trouble with the king of Babylon, and the king was so angry that he promised to throw them into a fiery furnace, which actually he did. And when they found out that this was going to happen to them, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, God will save us. Great statement of faith. And here's an even better one. God will save us, but even if he doesn't, we will not give up on God. Even if he doesn't save us, we will not give up on God. I love what Job says in our reading. Oh, that my words were written down. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. Oh, that an iron pen with lead, that they were engraved in a rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives. Job believes, still believes in God, even as he suffers for what he does not deserve. And he wants his faith recorded for others to see. And I think if it was me, I would want it recorded so that when God does save me, I could go, see, told ya. Our psalm for today, we didn't read it because of time, but Psalm 17, verse 6 says, I call upon you, O God, for you will answer me. On Wednesday, we gave the kids kind of Post-it notes, and we wanted them to write down, I trust God. They could use other words or other decorations or whatever, but we wanted them to put, I trust God. And then we wanted to put it on their refrigerator or on their mirror, someplace that they were going to see it. And that little girl in my home, she put it on our refrigerator. Sandy. And I think it's great. I would encourage you to do the same thing. Write it in whatever phrase that you would like. It's a good reminder for you and your faith. It's a good testimony to anybody that comes into your house. To remind you of your faith and the one you trust in. Psalm 31:14 says, But I trust in you, Lord. I say you are my God. I got this little thing here. It doesn't say it exactly the same way, but why don't we read this together? But as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. Let's say that again. But as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. And all God's people said, Amen.